Darren DeVries arrived in Bloomington yesterday for his introductory press conference. A lot of questions went on. A lot of questions about the lack of tie clip were also asked in some circles. That's probably for another short that we'll have up maybe later in the week, next week at Waiting Games. But there's a lot of things said in this introductory press conference. A lot of questions about obviously the split between him and West Virginia, given he was only there for a year. A lot of people in attendance. A lot of questions were asked, right? And at a certain portion of this, and shout out to, I want to give credit on this one, Ben Booth, who posted it on Twitter, the Ben Booth Show. Basically, Coach DeVries openly admitted that like this deal was kind of done during the season. Like there's no denying that like he had discussions basically with Indiana and that this deal was kind of in place. And then the rumors start swirling about the fact that he held Tucker out, basically told Tucker to sit out the rest of the season because we're going to be at Indiana next season or we're going to be somewhere else next season. Get your NIL, protect yourself, get healthy. Let's get out of here. And obviously, West Virginia fans didn't take too kindly to that. They basically accused them of being not fully in on the season. They accused Tucker of kind of robbing West Virginia their NIL and not honoring it and kind of just being a little bit shady about this. So, G, I'll throw it to you first. Obviously, with NIL involved in situations with coaches, I think people sometimes forget that like these conversations go on a lot, whether it's between coaches having it with people or just, and I didn't even realize this before I actually got into this space. Like these agents are constantly like shopping their clients around basically to get other just to gauge some things at times and take calls from other schools that maybe want to have their client be their coach. So I'll throw it to you first for your thoughts on this as far as, what do you think about him speaking with other teams during the year? And do you think this was a done deal, kind of like a quiet handshake deal in the middle of West Virginia's season last year?
Yes,
Yes,
I
100,
do.
you
I I
100%.
100%. I buy that's what happened here. So I listened to you and Dion's reaction yesterday to Darren DeVries' hire. First off, can't believe it's pronounced Darren. He spells it Darian. Just spell it Darren. If your name's that's crazy. We're gonna dissect that at a different point. My general stance, I found a lot of what you guys said to be things I agree with. I always found it entertaining as anything you guys say. You could talk about paint drying, and I'd watch a 30-minute video on it. Look, I think DeVries is a very good basketball coach. You're never going to hear me knock this guy's coaching acumen. I think what he did at Drake was phenomenal. I think if this year's West Virginia team, one, was healthy the whole season, but maybe two, my twist on this, wanted to be healthy the whole season, I think they would have been a factor here. They were very good in the first month of the year. They won a couple overtime games in the Battle for Atlantis against two of the best teams in the country. Here's what I think happened here, and this is kind of internet speculation, but I think sometimes internet speculation is right. I believe that Darren DeVries knew that he could parlay the West Virginia job that he had and the hot start that they had in November into a bigger job. I think that's how he approached this season. I think that's how his family approached this season. Tucker DeVries basically shut it down right within the window that you have to shut it down in order to still be able to play next season. Like you can't tell me that that wasn't a conversation between father and son behind closed doors of like, hey, my agent's telling me like Indiana's interested. There's a couple schools that are interested here. By the way, Indiana at the Battle for Atlantis. West Virginia at the Battle for Atlantis. That was the week that Trey Galloway's at the blackjack table. And everyone, that's when all the smoke started. We got to cut ties with this dude. So if Scott Dolson's in Atlantis, I don't know if he was or not, but he looks up. Who's the hot name? The dude who's winning overtime games, whose team looks competent.
Hmm.
So look, it's conspiracy E, even if it's not to the level I'm talking about. The reality is, Darren's comments speak for themselves in this press conference. If you
I mean,
listen to him, he's like,
he said it. He openly admitted to it, kind of.
yeah, he's like, yeah, I mean, there's conversations ongoing, but both sides really respected the fact that like I had to keep my focus with West Virginia, even if we knew some things were going to happen. But let me make it clear, if I'm a West Virginia fan, I'm sick to my stomach hearing this because this is what I believe happened. He knew he was gone. He shut his son down so that his son can go be the star next year at a bigger school. And it tanked West Virginia's season. They missed the NCAA tournament, which they shouldn't have, by the way. But they missed the NCAA tournament largely because of the way the DeVries family went about this season, and that would frustrate me.
Yeah, also I just picture like Trey Galloway maybe being like his fourth like vodka soda tonic deep, and he like looks to his left. He's like, I swear that's Dolson and DeVries talking. No, that's actually split those. But I mean, look, I get what you're saying, and I understand like and I think maybe it's easy for me to say this in the spot that I'm in. If I was a West Virginia fan, I'd be burning down the Twitter sphere. Like, I can't believe this dude. We lost to Colorado twice to end the season, and this guy's in Bloomington mentally. Like, that would eat at me.
Well,
Um,
that's a great example. Respectfully, even without Tucker DeVries, whatever you want to say this West Virginia team became post injury, you don't lose to Colorado unless you're done with this. Like that's just the reality. That's
mm,
just not like if you'd rather be at the introductory press conference than in the NCAA tournament, losing to Colorado is a pretty good way to get there.
yeah. Okay. Can we flip this in a positive light?
Please.
Indiana, y'all might have one.
Why? Because he has shit to him for that?
Yeah, like he's like, I'm done with them. I'm locking in on Bloomington.
Yeah. I mean, maybe. Maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I think he's a good coach. I'm not really doubting the coaching acumen. I will say this, while I think the circumstances of this would frustrate me as a West Virginia fan, I wouldn't be livid if I'm a West Virginia fan losing this guy immediately. Because, like, one, you clearly didn't want to be here. And two, am I really supposed to be up in arms about losing a guy that has made three NCAA tournaments and never advanced past the round of 64? That missed the tournament this year? Like, what was their Big 12 record?
No, not ideal.
Actually, they went 10 and 10 in the Big 12. That's not bad at all. But
Oh.
how did they miss the tournament?
They shouldn't have. Well, honestly, you want to know what it was? One, they shouldn't have. Two, they lost to Colorado
Right.
twice. I think it was twice they did.
No, just once.
Just once. Okay, and
Once.
literally in the Big 12 tournament, playing Colorado off of days like off rest too. Colorado played the game before. And,
Colorado was on their third game in 3 days, I believe.
yeah, and they lost three,
No, second day in 2 days.
and they
Sorry.
lost, or sorry, they won three conference games all year. So I don't know. It's just it's never a situation that makes any fans feel good. Obviously, knowing that your coach's heart is somewhere else. But also on the same token, he wasn't trying to lose games. Like, are we seriously thinking that he didn't like prepare the best or put his team in the best position because he was talking to other
I
schools?
wouldn't say he was trying to lose games. I do think there's an element of like, how much are you preparing for this for sure? I mean, that's just like, it's like Ben Johnson, ROC with the Lions. He's interviewing, he knows he's going to the Bears. We've got a playoff game to win, and you came out with a shit game plan. Like, I think that's more real than people want it to be. Um, and I don't blame Darren DeVries for this. I don't think he necessarily owed anything to West Virginia. He knew if he was going to Indiana, like of course you should want to get to Indiana as quickly as possible, build something special there. But it's just a little shocking it's shocking to me for that reason. It's also shocking to me for the fact that it's Darren DeVries and Indiana had quietly locked him up months ago.
Right.
What? Like, what? I thought there were a bunch of bigger name coaches. Weren't y'all shaking ass for Brad Stevens?
Yeah. That brings up a whole nother question that definitely needs to be discussed. But
Like,
I mean,
I'm sorry, but was Darren DeVries locked up when Indiana insiders were saying Dusty May was the priority? Was
I don't
Darren
want
already locked up at that point? Like,
I
what's
don't
the timeline
I
here?
don't want to call out insiders. I don't feel good ever doing that. But you do got a hot seat it a little bit here. Like there's a Brad Stevens dance, there's a Chris Beard dance, there's all the Brad Brownell dance, Mick Cronin dance, and this guy's been locked up for half the season. It sounds like just very interesting. and I know we'll have some more stuff on this, obviously, as the offseason plays out for Darren DeVries and things like that. But can I get a quick rate this hire 1 to 10 from you? And also, are you scared of DeVries as a Big Ten fan?
Think he's a good coach. Not scared of him at all. I saw in the Indiana fan channel there was like a consensus like where would he rank? Do you think he's like sixth in the Big Ten right now? I think that's crazy. I think there's at least
I saw someone put him top three.
I think there's at least 9 or 10 coaches in the Big Ten that project as a better coach than him. Now again, I'm not meaning to doubt his acumen. What he did at Drake is incredible. I mentioned this elsewhere, but like to me, the skill set that it took to build Drake into what he built it into, a program that went 26 and 5, 25 and 11, 27 and 8, 28 and 7 in his final 4 years. I mean, he built Drake into a mid-major power in the Missouri Valley. That's a different skill set than it takes at Indiana. Like Indiana is basically you've got money cannons. What are you going to do with them? That's also how West Virginia works. He missed the tournament. So, like, to me, if you're hiring the Drake coach, why didn't you hire the guy who took what McCollum or what DeVries built and did better with it? Because McCollum won 30 games this year. DeVries never did that after DeVries took his best player.
Yeah.
So I don't really think like the program building at a mid-major necessarily is going to apply at Indiana. There's going to be donors writing him checks. Win now, what do you do? And he's a good enough coach, maybe he will, but it's a hire that surprises me because I think there's a lot of other coaches that are already at the high major level that in theory should have wanted this job. Do I think he'll be good? He should be. He's a smart guy, and Indiana has all the resources, so I won't be surprised whatsoever. But like, afraid of him? No, respectfully.
Yeah, that I kind of feel the same way. And I mean, we'll see how it plays out. But look, even making the jump from Drake to West Virginia, that's a jump obviously in its own right. Indiana basketball is a jump up from West Virginia, with all due respect. Like they you have the resources, you have the fan base, you have a lot of eyes on you, and it's gonna get spooky if you don't win games. And I hope he gets a little bit of time, a little bit of grace, but at the same time, I don't think he's getting much. All right. So God forbid he doesn't do as good as Woodson, and then we get on here and start some Woodson back rumors. But in any regards, we'll see what happens with this. It was a very interesting press conference. I'm not going to end this with best of luck to Darian DeVries. Best of luck to finding a new nickname because D-Rock's not it.
Car, you hired a guy, Indiana. I mean you hired a guy who in 7 years as a head coach has missed the tournament at a higher percentage than Mike Woodson did, who has less NCAA tournament wins in 7 years than Mike Woodson did in 4. I can't get excited about that. Even if you believe in the guy, hiring a guy whose team finished where Mike Woodson did this year is crazy. And I hope Tucker DeVries goes off because that's going to be the plan. Guess what? When you hire Darren DeVries, the plan is my son is the star. Hope it goes well.
Yucky. It is March, and that means that March Madness is upon us. And if you are looking for a place to play, Underdog Fantasy has you covered. Sign up and deposit using code SLEEPERS, that's code SLEEPERS, to receive up to $1,000 in bonus credit plus a free pick. Head over to Underdog Fantasy today and use promo code SLEEPERS to take advantage of this amazing offer.